Now let's move to our next keynote profile. It is my honor to introduce Shyam Kumar Gajula, endpoint and identify security engineer and cybersecurity researcher from United States of America. He has strong expertise in identity and access management, cloud security, threat detection, and enterprise security architecture. His keynote presentation is titled Endpoint Security, the Frontline of Modern Cyber Defense. We look forward to his expertise, insights, and strengthening cybersecurity in today's digital world. Let's warmly welcome Shyam Kumar, sir.
Mute. Um, Hello everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sounds good. Can you see me?
Yes, sir.
Sounds good. Let me adjust my slideshow. All right. Thanks everyone. Um, Thanks for the opportunity. First of all, good day to one and all. I'm Shyam Kumar. I am here to discuss on the topic endpoint security, and how the front line of how it's been a front line for the cyber defense in this modern era, and why the endpoints are the number one target, and how the organizations are planning to defend effectively, to safeguard, to apply the guardrails. Um, before I give more information about our whole concept about this endpoint security, first we need to understand what exactly is an endpoint and what is an endpoint security, and why it matters, and what are the preventive measures we need to take in order to secure the organizations or your devices, or any sort of um, security measures you want to take forward. So basically, what's an endpoint? Endpoint is a device where user connect to their corporate firewall, um, and from outside its firewall. So in a layman language, I would say, like, you have a device, you connect to the device, you get authenticated, and you connect to that corporate network like a VPN or some sort, and you execute the code. So the whole point of endpoint is to it can be different varieties of endpoints. Like it can be your phone, your laptop. It can be your LOT devices which placed in at home, like sensors, cameras, and whatnot. So every endpoint is basically a point of entry for the attackers, to identify the data. So how do we understand what exactly is an endpoint security, right? So security is endpoint security is nothing but endpoint protection, right? And it's a kind of a methodology where cyber security approach, where you can defend against the malicious or malwares, to defend our endpoints, which is phones, tablets, printers, cameras, and digital LOD devices, etc. So, uh, and how can we prevent this, and how can we detect this, and reduce the risk by using the endpoint security? So why endpoint security matters, right? So why should we use it, basically? So we know that in our organizations, or where we have seen an era where it has been a major shift from after pandemic, right? So um, um, most of the organizations were not ready for the ramifications which occurred post pandemic, and every organization were like don't know exactly what exactly they need to do by placing the how to address the users um, um, workforce basically. So most of the folks were working remotely, and they need to make sure that it need to be very secure, right? So in order to do that, so there are a lot many things like credential theft basically are the primary vector breach which happens, and we know that, and we discuss on a day-to-day basis too, right? About how breaches happen, how machines get compromised, and how to isolate those um, IOCs like incidents of compromise and stuff. So we need to make sure that there is reduced downtime, and we also need to make sure that there is no breach impact, and we need to reduce the compliance risk. So these are the numbers which I gathered from the different FBI links and the Forbes, where they have given a trend of last 4 years and the latest government and industry intelligence they have provided. So you see that the numbers in 2022, the losses are like over 10 billion. So it keeps on increasing. Even though we know that our organizations keep many hardline baselines, hardening baselines and stuff, but still we are seeing these many losses. So how can we control this? So as I said, like endpoint is always a major threat, and no matter what and what industry you're working at, and it might be, as I said, like it might be a phone, right? Phone is an basic thing where we always keep that everything is secure with Apple Pay and all the stuff. We use a lot of stuff. We browse many websites unknowingly, and we don't know how can we protect those endpoints, right? So these are the things, and literally all alone in US, it was like um, there were complaints from FBI. Lot they have FBI received a lot many complaints, like around um, um, close to million, I believe, and the losses were, as I said, as you can see on the screen, like it's more than 10 billion and 15 billion. It keeps on increasing. And the average cost of data breach with the credentials, stolen credentials, um, you can see it's 20, it's an average of 20%. And the basic attack happens in the front line itself, like where users get baited with the phishing, one click away from getting attacked, right? And all this social engineering, even though you put a lot of awareness to the humans, or in our organization's practice provides a lot of awareness programs, but still the human errors happen, and the implications are so high that it's very hard to recover. Sometimes you need to isolate the entire network and then separate it out from the existing one. So how I mean, like, why attackers target endpoints only? Because as I said before, it is a primary vector breach. I mean, it's an easy passage for those users, for the attackers basically, to attack the common users, which someone not be like tech savvy, some might be tech very not sure about the thing that if I send a gift card email or something, you would have heard about this stuff in the organizations, like why I got a gift card, but most of the folks don't know how to recognize that whether it's a phishing email or it's a genuine email. So even though you provide an awareness, people are in the human tendency is to go and click on that particular link uh, and see uh, they are very curious about, I would say, like, oh, what, I got a gift card, so let me click on that and see um, um, what exactly it is. So that itself is prone to, phishing, right? So there are some loopholes attackers use, like, the unpatched machines. So that is the reason every time you hear from the security folks that, hey, your machine is out of compliance, you need to get patched, otherwise you will be, otherwise you'll be shutting down your access, right? So these are the basic things, um, um, which we need to focus. We need to make awareness to the folks, and and attackers take this as a loophole and try to leverage that thing and exploit based on the situations. And we know that we use antiviruses and all the stuff, and we still feels like, okay, my computer is pretty safe, my endpoint is pretty safe. What else I can do, right? So you know that as we are moving from far away from as technology evolve, and AI is coming into the picture. So basic antivirus is basically the antivirus which we used or which we know was just a signature based. What it does, it just prevents the malware, like on a low level malware, like, okay, it knows okay, it's a basic threat, and it blocks the very minimalistic um, file based or any executive files of some sort, but it doesn't give you a whole picture of how um, and what sort of file it is and how it is uh, silently silently destroying your machine, right? So there are like some major next generation firewalls, which and the antiviruses like Falcon. Falcon is one of the good example. It's a CrowdStrike based one. So what they do is it has a very good features, wherein you can have that has a capability of uh, showcasing the visibility, and real-time detection, and it also um, gives you an alerts, logging and stuff. So I'll get very I'll explain more in depth on those solutions basically. So these are the code solutions where you can implement, or in any organizations to have more visibility. One is like EPP, which is an endpoint protection, and the other one is EDR, which is also a protection kind of a thing, but it has more features. So let me walk you through with the prevention, like EPPs, which are so it's a solution-based ones. Basically, what it does is it prevents first, and it gives an awareness that, hey, I've seen such a blocks and malwares, which basically it's a fileware malwares, suspicious files, kind of a thing, and then it enforces those controls and it tries to investigate and detects, but it also provides a remediations like solutions kind of a thing where it's kind of a dynamic, um, where you can log in, where the logs and alerts can be um, help, where the logs, it populates the alerts and logs so that the whatever the security team is in charge of it can look into that. And EDR is kind of a very different one. It gives a real-time detection. Basically it investigates, it also gives an outcome like what to do kind of a thing, and it is really really useful in the day-to-day life. And that's how you can identify who is that. You can trace with the IP addresses, you can trace where that is coming from, where it's populating from, all sort of very deep analysis it can provide. So that is one of the good thing where you can protect your endpoints. So what strong endpoint security looks like, right? So as I said before, right, we need to have a real-time visibility, which is very much needed, because if you don't have that, you lose a lot of um, silent um, breaches. You'll hear like silent breaches. Like there were so many incidents happen. Like Capital One had the same thing before Rogers went down because of this. Uh, Rogers network went down because of the breaches. So there is a central, this is, we can implement this centralized cloud management. It's been using in a lot many organizations these days. So there is a particular features where you can enforce those policies such that when such sorts of incidents happen, uh, it immediately provides an alert, and you can, and the respective team can deep dive in with a severity level, based on the severity level, and try to isolate the issue. And you can also use the SIAM system, SIAM and SOAR for faster incident response workflows. So my final thoughts are, like, we know that the traditional perimeter firewalls are no longer, the traditional firewall perimeters are no longer in use. So, and these EDR solutions are the best way to, protect our endpoints. And EPP and EDR gives you more visibility in real time, rather than just just blocking the files or any sort of uh, smaller. It like gives more visibility than anything else. And the other one is, like, containment, fast containment. What it does is it reduces the business disruption, and it also gives you. Uh, it also helps you, reduce the breach cost and stuff. So yeah, basically endpoints is just it's not a tool. I mean, it's just an ongoing strategy. So these are my views on the endpoint security. Yeah, please feel free to ask any questions if you have regarding this topic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. If anyone has any question, they can raise their hand.